right, welcome everyone to Growth School, and it's an amazing and phenomenal experience. And this is another moment of Growth School. Of course, you know when it's time for Growth School, it's always that time to really share and discuss very phenomenal knowledge and experiences on the things that can transform your life, elevate your mind, and grant you really key experiences and knowledge and wisdom that would help you become really better. So, like you can see on the screen, we're looking at the subject of breaking through limiting beliefs. And this is very, very crucial considering the experiences of things that are going on in different parts of Africa and the things that has to do with knowledge, experiences, political scenarios, our socioeconomic status, and all of the things that are going on around the world. And it's really essential that we get to that point where we begin to look inward and solve the problems that may be um, very, very crucial, which really begins from within. So, most times people throughout circumstances around their life to external factors, and they don't get to start looking at themselves from within. They don't get to start looking at what could be wrong, what could be my fault, what do I need to work on, how do I ensure that I get better, how do I ensure that I begin to change things. So, like you can see in the instruction going on the slide, you would do well to actually put your smart devices on full screen if you're using a smartphone, and then turn it to landscape so you can get a full experience of the things that will be shared. So breaking through limiting beliefs, very, 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 very crucial, very, very important topic, and the things that you should look at. All right. I always don't want to assume that everyone who is joining Growth School at any time, that everyone seems to know. So I would want to do some sort of introduction. So of course, my name is Dr. Abiodun Mustapha, founder of Growth of Africa, personal development strategist, TEDx speaker and organizer, author of over 10 books, academic researcher, computer science lecturer, and alumni of ACM Future Computing Academy in the New York. So these are some places where I've gained certain expressions. Like you can see the image on the top left corner, that's me speaking, giving a welcome address in the TEDx event that I was the lead organizer at TEDx Anchor University. That's where I currently engage and pass a lot of my knowledge. On the lower side, you will see me there as a TEDx speaker at TEDx Isado Model Youth Program, where I shared concepts around purpose and all. And on the right top corner, you would see me there as a compere of one of the largest events in Lagos, Confab 14, beating the system, where I was able to coordinate and co-moderate the program. And on the lower side there, you see me there as a trainer, as a coach, trying to reach out to startups and engage them on certain crucial matters that can help them build their businesses well and do well in the things that they really want to do. So these are various areas of my expressions, and the ability to be able to speak on different stages, impact a number of people, reach out to hundreds of young people from different parts of the world. So it's just trying to tell you that you can actually be whatsoever you want to be if you can work on the right mindset. And that's why we are talking on the concept of mindset today, and being able to break up from the barriers of the things that may be limiting your mind. All right. I'm just a young boy who grew up in Oshodi, who was not sure what the future was about, who engaged purpose, was able to grow my ideas, who gained access to premium information, and then I was able to transform my life. Now, I want to ask a particular question. Imagine that you are right now at a point in your life whereby you need $100,000 that can change your life, and then you are locked in a room that is blocked with a lot of glasses, and you need $100,000 urgently to change your life. And then outside that particular glass building that seemed to be limiting and restricting you, you found a bag and someone told you that, oh, that bag is full of money. And one of the richest man, just think of any rich man, has actually given you that money. And all you need to do is just go ahead to take that money. All right, just go ahead and take that $100,000 in that bag. And you need it so badly to be able to change your life, to be able to transform your life, that if you don't get that money, you may die in the very next, you may die in like the next hour. What are you going to do? So the bag is there, but you're shielded by glass environment. What will you simply do? You will do the exact thing this man is doing. You will do everything to break through that glass. You will shatter it and ensure that you get the money and change your life. That's exactly the same way our minds are. That's exactly the same way our situations are. Most times, when you begin to understand that there is a limitation between you and your goals, between you and your dreams, between you and the things you look forward to, between you and the things you know that can change your life, you're willing to break them. And that's exactly what you have to do to limitations. Right now, the things that seem to be hindering you from becoming what you are is just like that glass wall that is restricting you, that is not making you get the best you should get. And until you deal with it from within, your results without will be restricted. I'll say that again. Until you deal with the limitations within, your outcomes without will be limited. So go out right now, and then as you begin to go through this, the objective and the essence of this particular webinar, this particular Growth School episode, is to actually help you break through them so that you can truly get what is yours. Right now, you must understand that your life is not at the state that it is because that is who you should be. It is at the state it is because your mind has kept you at that particular point. There is this book written by James Allen called As a Man Thinket. And there is a very important thing that came out of that book, that you will become as small as your controlling desires, as great as your dominant aspiration. Now, what does that mean? It means you are so small because of the desires that control you, because of the desires that you are made to control you over time. Which means that you are not meant to be small because you are destined to be small. You're small because there is a controlling desire on a consistent basis that has kept you at that particular point. Now, you need to ask yourself, what is your greatest desire? What is your greatest desire? What's the things you desire the most? What are the things you long for the most? Those are the things that control how small you are. And it says that as great as your dominant aspiration, which means that you can be whatever you want to be depending on the aspirations that is most dominant in your mind. So your smallness and your greatness, they are both a condition of your mind, and the state at which you think will determine how small you are or how great you are. So your desires and aspirations come from a boardroom, come from a status that is actually called your mind, and that is why you are where you are. So there's something said in scripture that as a man thinketh, so he is. So you are actually the way you think. You are not the way you wish to be. You are the way you think. So there's always something about the way you think and what you become and what you get. Okay? There's something about the way you think, what you become, and what you eventually get. And the second thing I want you to understand about your mind is that your life will only attract your most dominant thought. Okay? Now, you must know that your mind is like a magnetic field that attracts whatsoever dominates your thought. Okay? So it's like a magnetic field. So wherever you have not been is because of the status of your thought. And wherever you have been is because of how you have thought over time. Now, I want you to look at the picture on the screen. There are two people who are currently caged in a box. All right. They are caged in that box because they believe that there is no way out. But there's somebody who has come out and currently is sitting on that box. Why? Because there's a belief system in his mind that there is a place of freedom. He believes there is an escape route. So there is nothing going on right now in your life that did not come as a result of the most dominant thoughts within you. If you want to attract anything real, if you want to attract anything good, they will all come because of the way you think. For example, you want to aspire to become a leader, you want to aspire for tremendous changes, you want to aspire to achieve massive influence in your life, you need to attract them first in your thoughts. You don't attract them by doing things, You don't attract them by the actions you take, you attract them by the state of your heart. And that is because if you do things that do not match the state of your mind, those things will be fruitless because your mind have not attracted them. Okay, those things will be fruitless because your mind have not attracted them. There were times and seasons whereby the things around me did not look like I was going to be influential, I was going to be impactful, but I had to believe within me. I had to allow that thought to be dominant within me. And then by actualizing them, I began to get results. How did Growth Crew start? I just sat down in 2020 and said, oh, this was time. COVID was happening. This was a platform that, oh, I could reach people. I could do what others were doing. And then I began taking action. Why? Because there was a thought that was dominant in my heart. And Growth School had been happening over and over and over again for a very long time. Why? Because there was a dominant thought within. Maybe right now you're watching it and you're thinking, oh, I want to start a business. I want to do something amazingly. You need to allow the success to dominate your thoughts. And then as you take actions towards them, you begin to see tremendous progress. The third thing I want you to see is no one is weak or disadvantaged. We are only separated by what we think about consistently. There's this story I used to share the point that there's this story of two friends who visited a very rugged, rough area in India. All right, some of them they left Europe and traveled to India. And on getting to India, there was one of these friends who saw the people were walking barefooted. They were, they didn't have shoes. They were walking barefooted. And one saw and say, oh, these people are dirty. These people are ghetto people. Oh, they are low class people. They don't have anything to do. See them, they're walking on their foot. And he said, oh, he never wants to come back to that particular place. And the second friend saw these people, and in his mind, he began to see shoes. He began to see how he could make low cost shoes, how he could make things that these people can wear and they could buy in mass. Both of them left that scenario, and the one who thought about the business started doing some sort of manufacturing, started making affordable shoes, and that other one just remained the way it was. And this guy returned back, sold shoes to them, and those people started wearing shoes, and he made lots of money. Why? Because of what he thought in himself. Look at the situations around you, even though they are displeasing, the way you think will determine the breakthrough that comes to you. So it's to tell you that no one is weak or disadvantaged. There are people who say, oh, because I was born in a third world nation, or I was born in Africa, I was born in this place, oh, it does not really seem like I will make a lot of impact. But you need to retwist. The people who are on that bench, who even though they were born in a third world nation, they are able to make remarkable progress. Imagine people who are winning Guinness Book of Record, they are gaining global attention. It started because of their thinking. So our separation happens by what we think about consistently. You are not poor or rich because of what you don't have in your hand. You're poor or rich because of how you think, because of how wealthy you are in your mind. So no one is actually weak or disadvantaged. See, people will say, oh, because I'm maybe disabled, maybe because I don't have this, I don't think I can make it. Look on the rivers. The people who are invited to speak, the people who don't have limbs and hands, and yet they build massive houses, they write books that go global, they are able to influence even those who have more ability than them. They do not look at their disadvantage, they look at how they can make massive impact. So that is why we are only separated by what we think about consistently. When you think about what consistently, you will be separated on that level you are. When you think about success and growth and increase consistently, you will be separated in the level of excellence and growth and improvement. So no one is weak or disadvantaged. We are only separated by what we think about consistently. Now, the next thing I want you to think about as we look on the concept of the mind is that whenever God wants to lift or change the life of a man, it takes them through a journey that changes his thoughts. Okay, whenever God wants to change the life of a man, it takes him through a journey that changes his thoughts. Now, I'm going to paint some examples so that you begin to understand what I mean. All right, and I will go first to the story of David. Do you know that David did not succeed on the throne as a king just because, oh, he was a warrior, or he could fight, or he could do this, or he could be here. The first thing was that God built a system that took him first to the palace. He needed to understand the palace lifestyle. He needed to understand how things run there, so that when eventually he became a king, he would be able to lead well. And what was the system? Saul had an issue that he was traumatized, he was demonized, and they needed someone who could play the string. And interestingly, the next king of Israel, who was anointed to become king, needed to go to the palace by playing the string instrument for David, for Saul, and he understood the system of kingship. Now, there was this story also of Esther. You know, people also think, oh, Esther was lucky, oh, because Vashti misbehaved. And then it looks as if, oh, Esther was destined to become the king. That's not the entire story. Esther's uncle, who was Mordecai, was like a gatekeeper. He was like a security officer in the palace. He had the news that the king called for young virgins, and they needed to take them through a scenario. They needed to take them through a system. And that system was they needed to learn the palace custom, the royal custom. They were taught, all right, they were taught by the rulers and the ones who kept the queen. And that was a man who actually taught them certain systems. And Esther needed to learn that scenario. They needed to learn the language of kingship, which means God will not bring you to certain places of destiny if he has not first worked on your thoughts. So Esther learned all of those things. Esther took those lessons and she followed through it. She knew how to smell. She knew the perfume that was needed. She needed to know the courtesy that needs to be engaged. And eventually she won the contest. Why? Because her thoughts needed to be transformed first. All right, she had to listen to a guy who gave her the learnings and the teachings and the ideologies and all that needed to learn. You will not get to certain thrones except because except you have mastered the thinking for those thrones. Except you have mastered the thinking for those thrones. Look also, Apostle Paul. Paul got converted, and God wanted to use him for a massive work. Wanted him to go build churches in different places. He needed to minister to kings. God did not just tell him after converting him that, oh, go instantly and begin. God directed him to Ananias so they could engage. He could learn from Ananias. So God needed to work on his thoughts in order to change his life. There is no one who God leaves except God first transform their life. That's why it's very important that you pay vital attention to the way you think on a daily basis. Because the way you think, they have a way of deciding your destiny. So God will need to work on your mind. God will need to transform your thought in order to lift you in life. Now, the next thing I want to bring up is people don't become great outside the level of their thoughts. People don't become great outside the level of their thoughts. Listen, you will never attain greatness outside the way that you think. You will not attain greatness outside the way that you think. If you want to reach a level of greatness, you need to begin to think differently. All right. To be able to step into a level of greatness, you need to think differently. You need to think differently. It is only by your thinking that you can attain greater height in destiny. So people don't become great outside the level of their thoughts. If you are given the privilege to be a king and your thinking is like a servant, you will soon lose the throne and end up like a servant. All right. If you are given a certificate, like you're given a certificate and they put your name on it and say, oh, you're first class, take this certificate. And then your thinking thinks like a failure, you would soon see no need for that certificate, and then you begin to fail. So people don't become great outside the level of their thoughts. That is why you must understand that what you are becoming through your thinking is more important than your belongings. All right. I said this in a conference I was privileged to speak recently, that what you're becoming is more important than your belongings. You know, there are people who buy a lot of amazing things. They buy things worth billions and millions of dollars. But because their thinking don't match the things that they buy, they lose those things and come back to the state of their mind. That's why if your mind thinks at the level of $1,000, no, maybe not $1,000. If your mind thinks at the level of $1, and someone blesses you with $1 million, listen to me, If you don't raise your mindset to $1 million mindset, you will soon lose all the money and come back to a $1 mindset, $1 outcome. Okay, so people don't become great outside the level of their thoughts. That's why it's always not enough to give a person a position whose mindset have not grown to that level of influence. Okay, why? Because they will lose the position, because they will misbehave, because of how their mind have become accustomed. So people don't become great outside the level of their thoughts. Think right now of the amazing opportunities you have had in your life. Why do you think you lost them? Think very deeply. Take some time. Some of the amazing opportunities you have lost in your life, you lost them not because the opportunities were too big, you lost them because your mind could not accommodate them. So people don't become great outside the level of their thought. If by chance they do, they will return to the state of their mind. They will return to the state of your mind. Why do you think even if people give you a lot of money in six figures, before you know it, the money goes down to maybe four figures? The money goes down to maybe three figures. That's because your mind have not grown to be able to accommodate that level of influence. So people don't become great outside the level of their thoughts. So you need to expand your thoughts. You need to grow your thoughts so that when great opportunities come, you can manage and maintain them. Now, why do people experience mental limitations? What are the factors responsible for mental limitations? Why do people become limited in their minds? Why do people experience a lot of barriers? Why do people not have massive breakthroughs in different areas of their life? Number one is their experiences. Number one is their experiences. If you are not diligent to be able to understand the experiences that are responsible for where you are, you would find out that you will stay in a limited position in your life for a very long time. For example, there are people who have had great people, like wealthy people, influential people, very great people who want to bless their life, transform their lives, change their stories, come into their life. But why do many of them lose those people, or why don't they stay for so long in their life? Sometimes you'll find out that because they have not substituted the wrong experiences they have had in the past, so they lose the nice people who are showing up in their life today. For example, a young lady who have an experience of maybe heartbreak, relationships that didn't work out, or certain scenarios that didn't work out, and that person did not try to substitute those wrong experiences with new right experiences, they will lose the good people who are showing up today. Why? Because their past experiences still have a place in their mind. So one factor that is responsible for mental limitation is past experiences. There are people, it may be because you have failed in the past. Maybe you started something in the past, it didn't work, or you tried to set up something and you said, oh, this will blow, or maybe you gave out money for an investment, it didn't work out, and then an opportunity is presenting itself today. Because of that previous experiences, you will lose the breakthrough you should have today. So one thing that is responsible for mental limitation is the experiences of people. You need to ask yourself, what is that experience that is limiting you? What do you have to do? You need to substitute them with new experiences. Substitute them with new experiences. Maybe in the past you had a man, or maybe somebody who molested you and made you think very bad, or maybe sometimes you had your father who is always talking very rashly at you, always making you feel so bad, always making you look down on yourself, such that when somebody comes with an amazing opportunity, you never see yourself fit into it. So one thing that make people experience mental limitation is their experiences. If you are not aware of the source of your limitation, you will not be able to solve them. So don't just sit down and say, oh, I want my mental health to go. Sometimes it's not even about prayer. It's just about substituting your past experiences with good ones. Number two factor that is responsible for mental limitation is your exposure. All right? Is your exposure. Is your exposure. If you allow yourself see that the best that can come out of me is the best that I have seen in my immediate environment, and you are not aware what is going on outside your environment, you are so localized in your mind and you don't have a global perspective to life, you would always want to live life to the level of your exposure. That's why you find out that there are people who never access global opportunities. You know, before, I've seen a man who once said he would never fly an aircraft. The man said he will never fly by an airplane. Even if they give him for free, he will never go. That's someone by limited mindset. Which means, for example, if that man is given an offer for a contract that will change his life in another continent, this man would not go. Why? Because his exposure have made him believe that the best way to travel is by road. The best way to travel is by road. Have you seen people who will even say, maybe for example, oh, I prefer to always take a bus, even if I have the money to go by aircraft. I prefer to always have the sightseeing. At least by bus, I will buy this one. I will buy that one by the road. I will do this one by the road. It's always by exposure. And some of these people will lose appointments. Why? Because their exposures are very, very limited. So one thing that is responsible for mental limitation is your exposure. So what do you have to do? You need to break out of your exposure. All right. I will get there as I begin to speak about certain things you need to do to maintain a consistently positive mindset. So you look out for your experiences, look out for your exposures. And number three is your expressions. You know, I gave a definition for one word that used to be very common by young Nigerians, all right, by people in Nigeria. There's one word that is usually very, very common. You know, people used to use the word sapa, and I said my definition for sapa is the spirit advancing poverty and average. All right. And you see people who keep saying, oh, they have that thing, they have that thing, they have that thing. And the spirit keep enforcing them to stay average and to be poor. Why? Because of their expression. You see people say, oh, men has come, that they prefer to become single than to be married. Or you see young ones who say, oh, I'm scared of women, I will not do this. And you keep finding out that they never go outside that thinking because of their expressions. Because the more you say a thing, the more you enforce it. I want you to take note of that. The more you say a thing, the more you enforce it. The more you give it power to rule in your life. The more you give it the ability to control your life, the more you give it the ability to control your outcomes. So you need to work on your expressions. You need to become careful of the things you say on a daily basis. So your mental state comes to the level of the things you say consistently, because your words have creative abilities to bring realities into your life. Your words have creative ability to bring realities into your life. Number four is your examples. Who are your examples? Who are the people you look up to on a daily basis? Who are the people that influence you? Who are the people that encourage you? Who are the people you want to be like? Begin to look at those things. Those things control your mind. Are they people with restricted mindset? Are the people you say are your mentors and role models? Are people who are not even very clear on the right directions in their life? So number four is examples, and number five are expectations. What are your expectations from life? What are expectations from life? You know that people say, me, I'm not expecting so much. Maybe, for example, as a graduate, let me just graduate. Everything will work out itself. So you have no expectations, you have no clear visions, you have no clear purpose, you have no ambition in your life. Your expectations also limit your mind. Why do you expect so little from yourself? Why do you demand so little for yourself? Why do you believe that, oh, I don't think there's really so much that can come out from you. You need to start changing that mindset. You need to start having a greater expectation from your life. Now, I want you to listen to this. Your mind is the boardroom where your destiny is decided. You know how organizations used to have boardrooms, and they start deciding about a staff, about the future of the company, about the next level of the business, about what the business will become, about their clients, about their revenue. Your mind is the boardroom where your destiny is decided. Your mind is the boardroom. Listen, the external factors do not have power over your mind except you have decided to hand over the power to it. Okay, so your mind is the boardroom. Your mind is the place where you sit and begin to decide your future. Is where you sit and you begin to decide where you're going. Is where you sit and you begin to attract the right or wrong people in your life. Is where you sit and you begin to decide whether you're going to be great or you're going to be small. Your mind is a boardroom where your destiny is decided. Just like the greatness or smallness of a business is decided in the boardroom, your mind is that place where your destiny is decided. Whatever you are today is because of how you have thought always. And whatever you will be tomorrow is because of how you are deciding in the boardroom of your mind. Your mind is the boardroom where your destiny is decided. You need to take note of this. You have a boardroom, you have a place where decisions are taken, and you are the CEO that decides the final say of your destiny. So your mind is the boardroom where your destiny is decided. If you do not take time to pay attention to the things that go on in your mind, you will soon end up having no clear future and no clear ambitions that will come out of your life. So the restriction in your life right now is because of what is happening in the boardroom of your life. It's because of what is happening in the boardroom, which is your mind. That's why you must not joke with what happens in your mind on a daily basis. Now, what are the daily habits for maintaining a limitless mind? You want to have limit, you don't want to have, you want to have a mind of no limits. You want to have a mind that is so powerful, so great, so transforming, a mind that will change your life in no small way. You want to have that kind of mindset where you are able to do so much, you're able to grow so well, you are able to transform so well. You need to do these four things. Just four things. Number one, renew your mind on a daily basis. There's a part in scripture that says, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and the perfect will of God. You need to renew your mind on a daily basis. Now, how do you renew your mind? You sit down, find time for meditation, and begin to say, what are the good thoughts? What are the good lessons that I learned today? And you begin to find out, oh, what are the wrong ideas that I need to dispel today? So it's like you begin to rinse your mind. You renew your mind. You renew your mind through meditation. You renew your mind by reading very premium and high level wisdom content that is able to give your mind strength and power. So you renew your mind. Just like you take your bath, you want to look fresh, you want to look new. The same thing you do to your mind. You must rinse your mind. You rinse your mind with valuable content. You do not watch just joke items that you joke and joke and joke over time, or demeaning items. You renew your mind. You want to have a brand new mind. You want to have a greater mind. You do something like a metamorphosis of the mind. All right, the old past, you take it off and then you put on something new that is crucial for your destiny today. So number one, you renew your mind. I hope you're getting value. If you are getting value, let me see you type value in the comment section. Let me see you type value, value, value. Let me see you type value in the comment section. All right, type value, value, value. Interesting, interesting. Thank you. All right, so you renew your mind. Number two, you guard your mind. Okay, guard your mind. No wonder the scripture said in Proverbs that guard your mind with all diligence. He said, for out of it are the issues of life. Just to tell you how pivotal the mind is. Just to tell you how crucial and important the mind is. If you do not shield your mind from wrong sayings, from wrong statement from movies, from wrong statement from songs, from listening to very demeaning things, average things, foolish things over time, you will find out that you will begin to react like those things are coming. Guide your mind from the things you see, from the things you hear, from the things you smell, from the things you touch. You need to guard your mind. Guard your mind. There are people that you should guide your mind from listening to. People will say things that are so average, they don't think about them, things of no wisdom in them. You need to guard your mind from them. You need to stop seeing things that bring you back to a position that you don't want to be. For example, guard your eyes, guard your ears from things that keep you in a state of pornography. Pornography is limiting, it destroys. You need to guard your mind, because whatever your mind meditates upon, you will still take action upon it. I'll say that again. Whatever your mind meditates on, you will soon take action on it. So you need to guard your mind. Number three, you need to train your mind. You need to train your mind. So you need to start training your mind on a daily basis to listen to high things, to read books. All right, not just little books, just books that you just want to get and feel happy, but real books that increase your wisdom. You need to quest for superior wisdom. Attend webinars like you're attending growth school today. Look for people with high level wisdom that can help you think really straight, that can help you take real crucial decisions. You need to train your mind. That's how training happens. Think of someone who wants to join the military, all right, and went to NDA. NDA is the Nigeria Defense Academy. That's where people want to join the army, the Air Force. They go to and they get real degree program, like that's their own university. And then they go to different trainings. They wake up very early in the morning. They begin to do a lot of exercises. They begin to have certain conversations. They learn how to hold the gun. They learn how to cock the gun. They learn certain instructions. It comes to training. And you will see somebody who maybe eats a lot. It begins to shed weight. By training your mind, you begin to shed the weight of useless conversation, wrong exposures, wrong experiences. You shed the weight of wrong expressions, and you are trained and you become so powerful. You become so fit, so that when situations and challenges present themselves, you are able to confront them. Why? Because you have trained your mind. So your mind knows what to think about, not what to think about. Your mind now begins to resist certain average poverty thinking and foolish ideologies. Why? Because your mind has been trained to begin to accept things that are positive. Okay, the next thing is you grow your mind. You begin to grow your mind. So you begin to say, oh, my mind grows. It begins to grow. So your mind is not what it used to be before. By growing your mind, you seek new exposures, greater exposures, okay, beyond what you are used to, beyond what you used to know, beyond what you used to have, beyond what you used to listen to, beyond where you used to be. I mentioned how at a time I would leave my place in Oshodi. I will take a transport and go to the island just to see how the things are. I needed to make certain things reflect on my mind. So you begin to become aware of certain programs to go to certain locations, you go to certain events, and then your life begins to change. And you must know that our lives changes. Miracles happen in our lives based on three things: the people we meet, the places we go to, and the events that take place in our life. That's how miracle happens. That is how you should also become deliberate to grow your mind. Now listen to this. There's this amazing statement by Brian Tracy. It says, you begin to fly when you let go of self-limiting beliefs and allow your mind and aspirations to rise to greater heights. So you begin to fly when you let go of self-limiting beliefs and allow your mind and aspirations to rise to greater heights. It's now time to allow yourself to rise to greater heights. Increase your aspirations. Begin to allow your mind grow on a daily basis, and then you see yourself start flying. And I want to say to you, it is time to fly. Stop staying small. Stop trying to remain where you are. Stop thinking like where you were born. Stop thinking like where you are. It's time to fly. Stop trying to dwell with the chickens and with the hen. Why? Because your place is in the sky. And in the sky, you have the privilege to fly, to soar, and then to reach every destination you want to get to. My dear friend, it's time to fly. I hope you got value. I hope you got value. I hope you got value tonight. I hope you got value. I hope you got value. And finally, I want to give you, for staying to the end of this webinar, I want to give you a copy of my book, Breaking the Boundary, called Localization. I'm giving it out for free, and you will get it for free if you join my Telegram channel. Immediately you just join and you join the channel, you'll see the book there. Just download and begin to read. So that's the link, t.me/growth Africa. So you see the book there. Just go right there, download a copy of the book, and then you begin to read, consume. Remember, you grow your mind by reading, you advance your mind, you renew your mind, and it begins to change the ideologies about you. So I want to know if you have questions. If there are questions, we'll go right into it. Do you have questions? Do you have questions? Do you have questions? All right. So you can drop your questions even after now. I will do well to attend to them. I'll do well to listen. I'll do well to also attend to them. Yeah, Dave, what's up? Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Dave. Amazing. Thank you so much. Please do well to subscribe. Do well to also share this video with your friends. Do well to share with them as many you can. All right, so it was just an instant webinar. I wanted to do this. I shared with people on my email list. All right, and they said we should do it. So thank you so much, guys. So do well to drop your questions, and then we will keep talking. Look out for another session of Growth School next week, and you will get the publicity when it will be out. Or we may just do an instant webinar whenever the time comes. Keep making the rest of your life the best of your life. Keep making a difference. Cheers and bye-bye.